Welcome to Let's Hug It Out with Roberto Rad. Let's hug it out. I don't know what I'm doing. I should be thrown away. What's going on, guys? What's up? What's up, huggers? How you doing? How are you today? Is everybody feeling good? Is everyone feeling calm? I'm changing up the format. I know I say this at the beginning. I've said this at the beginning of the last few shows, but I'm doing it for real this time. We're kind of changing pace with what we're doing. We're kind of changing up the guest format. We're going to go to single guests instead of two guests, and it's going to be less debate and more of a conversation. I kind of want to figure things out. I kind of want to see what people are doing in their lives, and I kind of want to discuss some fun topics. And so we're gonna use this time to learn about how we all sort of get through this world together, and through various topics such as today's one, which is social media burnout. Social media burnout. I've got a great guest today. His name is G. Wilson. The G is short for Garrett Wilson. He's a very talented screenwriter. He's a dear friend of mine. We used to work together back in the Slap TV days. G, what's up, brother?
How's it going, man?
Dude, what is up? I said this before because I've talked to you recently, but I got to just call it out right here on the pod. Your beard is A+ material.
Oh, thank you.
Fucking
that means
beautiful.
A lot.
Yeah, and the glasses too. I like those. Those are I don't think I've seen you wear those.
Yeah, no, I used to do square frames, but I figured,
right.
At post LA move, I needed to get more hip and with the times, and get something a little bit more circular. I'm a big fan of circles.
Oh, you do? Yeah. So what is that from the Matthew McConaughey show? True Detective. Time is a flat circle.
There you go. Yeah.
Did you fuck with that? Did you watch True Detective?
Oh man, I love True Detective, and
Yes.
it's funny actually because a book that Nick Pizzolatto, is that his name? Nick Pizzolatto, I think it is, right?
Yeah, Pizzolatto.
Yeah, like
We're probably both mispronouncing it, but let's plow ahead.
Shout out to Pizzolatto.
Pizzolatto!
But I read this book that formed the basis of his entire philosophical approach to that show, The Conspiracy Against the Human Race. It is one of the most depressing, philosophically pessimistic books, and perhaps one of the greatest works of horror I've ever read. Very existential, very metaphysical. I think one of the standout quotes to that was, "Consciousness is the parent of all horrors."
Ooh, wow. That reminds me a little bit of who's the writer of No Country for Old Men?
Oh, Cormac McCarthy.
Cormac McCarthy, right? That's not, and he also did what's the movie with Viggo Mortensen, the book, the Road, right? Is that not him?
Yeah, that's The Road. Yep.
That sounds a little bit in line with that. And what do you think? Am I near?
Definitely. I as far as the movies I've seen, I can definitely attest to that. I can't speak to the literature because I haven't read much Cormac McCarthy, but philosophically it makes sense for sure.
Yeah, but I too have only seen the films and not read his two books. But yeah, so True Detective though, is that based off of a novel, or is that original?
I think it's original material, and but it's based off of not based off of anything, but a lot of the thought process came from that book, as well as I believe the author's name was Robert W. Chambers, The King in Yellow. He's like a weird fiction writer, same era or maybe a little bit earlier than H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
So
move my camera. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but so definitely that weird fiction metaphysical element that you see in True Detective, from my knowledge, is based a lot on those two books. But I fuck with True Detective heavily. I haven't seen past season 1 though. I need to see the other 2 seasons.
Season 3 I hear is amazing, with that great actor from Moonlight,
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah. God, he's so good. And then he won the Academy Award for that, right? Best Supporting Actor, or at least at the very least was nominated, I believe.
Yeah, he was definitely nominated. I believe he won, but don't quote me. I'm not a Academy historian.
He's such a goddamn great actor, my God. But season 2, I think you can bypass season 2, although there's some fun moments in it with Vince Vaughn and whatnot. I think it's just. And Colin Farrell is fantastic. I mean, the acting is great as far as Rachel McAdams and Colin Farrell, but I felt like Vince Vaughn was just so out of place in that show. And season 2 just took to me a deep dive. Season 3 supposedly gets it back, but I can't speak on it because I haven't seen it yet.
Definitely, yeah. I need to see it as well. Vince Vaughn in serious roles is always a gamble. Sometimes he's great.
Yeah. What's a great serious role for Vince Vaughn? Because I'm having trouble thinking one at the top of my head.
Okay, so these movies are now problematic because the production company is canceled, and there's certain elements of that these movies which I don't agree with politically. But
Okay.
he was in a movie called Brawl in Cell Block 99 as this convict.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's a great film. That's the same director that did what is it, Bone Tomahawk?
Yeah, S. Craig Zoller. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Now hold on, inform me. What's the okay? So you just reminded me. Vince Vaughn is great in that Cell Block movie. He's fantastic in that. That's a very serious role. Probably one of his best dramatic roles, if not his best. What's problematic? I don't know anything about the behind the scenes or anything like that.
So Cinestate was recently canceled and shuttered. You know, they had bought Fangoria and had done like all this great work to decentralize the film industry from Los Angeles. They moved to the base of operations was in Texas, right? But however, on the set of I forget which movie it was, but there was a producer in which they permitted and probably knowingly allowed some awful assault and that kind of thing. He was a producer of a Ghost Story. I forget his name, but like they permitted this. They didn't do anything to stop him. And
wait, when you say assault, like sexual assault, or
like
just
sexual assault, harassment.
That's
It was
awful. Okay.
It's like really fucked up and really bad, and
it's awful. Okay.
and it sucks because that company was making really interesting films. And like I had said previously, they bought Fangoria, and like a Fangoria film that they had just released like a year and a half ago or something, VFW, is incredible. It's a great, amazing film by Joe Bagos. Shout out Joe Bagos. You make great films, man. But you know, there's certain things that were really weird about that company. They started like this film vertical to cover outlaw cinema, and it was basically like a conservative film vertical. And you know, just like there's certain things that were like not great.
God, it's awful.
And I mean, you can even see some like, I mean, of course the director will deny this, but like even in Brawl in Cell Block 99, there's some definite like racist subtext in there. But one can argue that it's the character that's racist and, you know, not necessarily the artist. But it's interesting.
Wow.
But yeah, great performance by Vince Vaughn though.
Sorry, I keep on kicking my camera. We're having like a deep, like a serious conversation about assault and this obviously horrible piece of shit guy. And I'm like, hey, sorry, I keep kicking my tripod. Very professional here. I'm in a very cramped space, by the way. I'm literally in my bedroom. This is the backdrop that I use for self-tapes. So I'm just completely squished together here.
I feel you. I am sitting in a very trying to have my posture up. I feel you.
Let's move into our topic, because otherwise we'll talk shop all day. We'll talk shop all day before we get to anything. Social media burnout. You know, the constant noise that comes with it. You know, comparison culture. You know, of you feeling good about yourself and seeing something online and feeling instantly bad. Now you've got and obviously you're not going to say the company you work for, but you work in social media directly, right? What do you do?
Yeah. So I've done social media coordinating. I've managed accounts for certain companies and festivals. I've also been involved in content production, as you know.
Yeah, I do.
Back in our days,
very talented man doing that. Very talented. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. But yeah, no, I've seen the entire end-to-end workflow of social media, basically. Yeah. From a corporate context, I guess you could say, because I by no means am I an influencer or anything like that. I'm more behind the scenes kind of guy. Yeah. You know, tracking analytics, all that fun stuff. It's
so you have to be online. How many hours would you say you clock in on your phone? A day.
6 to 8. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good chunk.
That is a huge chunk, and I'm actively trying to minimize that as much as humanly possible, man.
And how much of that is you just fucking around, and how much of that is I don't want to call you out on your job, but how much of that is just you just fucking around online?
Oh man, I would say there's probably a solid hour and a half or 2 hours that are just like, you know, it's me going back from like work stuff to personal stuff. It's like legit how I've how I view it is it's a legit addiction that I currently have, like that I would like to kick for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy because in our business we have to constantly be in the know. You have to be informed. You have to know everything, and at the same time, there's it's a sort of a double-edged sword where there's this constant influx of information 24 hours of the day, and it can become somewhat overwhelming, and so it's so hard to find the balance of like what is a healthy amount to consume and then step away from so you're not going completely nuts about it.
I mean, that's the question I ask myself every day, like, how much is too much? And honestly, I mean, I think when you get to the point where you're waking up and the first thing you do is check your phone, that's too much. I agree. That I try to go as long, I have my phone, my alarm's on my phone, but I try to go as long as possible without picking up my phone. But it happens inevitably. You know what I mean? It happens eventually. I pick it up because I want to see, maybe somebody's texting me in the night, something of that nature. So I'm eventually going to pick up the phone, and as soon as I open it to send a text or a WhatsApp or whatever, suddenly I'm going to check my email. And once I check my email, that's it. I'm going to go on Twitter. I'm going to go on Instagram, and then boom, I'm in. I'm already in. And there's no need to. There's no need to do that right away. Yeah, definitely. It's just like the world's changed so much, right? So like. Yeah. You don't have to go anywhere to access these screens. They're literally right in front of you. You don't have to move your feet. They're within reaching distance, whether it's your computer, your iPad, your tablet, phone, whatever. It's all within reaching distance. And like in the past, for instance, let's just talk content consumption, right? You watch an episode of TV, you have to wait until next week to watch the next episode, right? Now...
In the old days, yeah.
Yeah, now there are no limits.
Right.
Yeah.
You binge everything. You can binge everything.
It's all at your fingertips. And, I'm no, like, expert behavioral psychologist, whatever, but, like, that has to fuck with your reward center and, like, your dopamine and serotonin and whatever other brain chemical there is.
After a while, it's so funny. Like, if I spend too much time on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or anything where I'm just consuming video after video, after almost even a little while, I start feeling really bad. And I don't know why. And I just know that I have to get away from it. Like, I feel like I've just watched too much because it's endless. It's like, oh, I'll watch this video now. It's one thing if you're actively learning something, like I'm about to direct a film and I was looking up specific shots and I was looking up this, some cinema technique and, trying to learn a little bit more about tone and colors and all that stuff. So that's one thing because I'm trying to educate myself. And that's what I would call as like a positive aspect of YouTube and whatnot and social. But then, I could spend endless amount of time rewatching old Super Bowls. And it's like, why? Now I'm just consuming and it just becomes brainless after a while. Like it's that feeling where you think you're accomplishing or feels like you're sort of accomplishing something, but you're really accomplishing nothing. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like, you can absorb all this information, but what use is the information? You just fill your brain with crap, dude. And it's like, granted, like you said, there's so many positive aspects. You could teach yourself to draw on YouTube. You can be an artist that has that may have not had economic means to go to college or art school, and you can learn you can learn anything online. It's completely democratized, and all of that is totally positive, right?
Totally wonderful, absolutely. Across every platform, across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anyone can become a creator, and anybody can show the world their art potentially. So that's amazing. So that is a wonderful side of social media and content creation. And we're not the peak. I think we're nearing the peak of that.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you have artists who are able to open up new channels to new audiences. You have small business owners who are able to open up their networks through new means. There's all sorts of different fantastic applications to that. I mean, just from a social. And I mean like a physical social standpoint, a human to human, maybe sociological standpoint, it's done a great in revealing the cracks in our society. For example, like last year, like the Black Lives Matter protests. You know what I mean? Like we got the real story of what's going on. I mean, injustices are readily revealed.
Because now everyone can just hold their phone and just boom, we got you. Everyone can be filmed. Everyone can be caught.
Yeah, and I mean, this even goes back to what we were talking about in the intro with like Marilyn Manson. People are able to share their stories and disseminate this and call them out. You know what I mean? And I think that's all very, very, very important. And it makes society better. But I want to talk about some of the negative aspects.
Of which there is a plethora of, especially from a you know, health and wellness standpoint. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could go from platform to platform, but
yeah, because it has to be divided up a little bit, right? Because how you consume Twitter's what, all very news based. It's great for comedians, but it's just nonstop information, everything. You know, you're going to learn about the Senate passing, you know, the COVID relief package today via Twitter, you know, unless you look at your phone and it pops up there, you know, whereas Instagram, you're going to go on and you're going to see what your friends are up to or people that you enjoy watching or their feeds and whatnot. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's kick it off with Twitter first. I mean, as you said, like, it's a great way to get information readily, right?
Yes.
However, that information is rarely cited, rarely sourced, and if it is sourced, it could be from some completely bogus website. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So everything is subjective, for the most part, and the way I see it is, before I continue, can you hear a plane?
Yeah, I hear that. That's pretty hardcore. That's okay. We're not filming something. You know, we're not going to hold for the plane.
Okay,
hold for plane. Yeah. How close to the airport are you?
I'm actually not close to the airport, but the jets from the Air Force Base are constantly flying.
Oh, is that a
back
jet?
and forth.
Is that a fucking jet going on?
Those are jets, yeah.
That's all right. At least you feel safe. You know, no one's coming near you. No one's bombing you.
Thank you, Space Force.
Yeah, thanks, Space Force. Just hope that it's not like, you know, it's not a situation of a low flying plane. Like, what's that movie with Denzel? Flight.
Oh my God, that's my nightmare.
Yeah, if you're an upside down plane, that would be somebody's nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Oh my, that'd be anybody's fucking nightmare.
Jesus.
Holy shit, that's a great movie. You know who I love in that movie is John Goodman.
John Goodman. You know, I haven't seen Flight. That's a blind spot for me.
Oh, dude, you gotta see Flight. Flight's so much fun. Denzel is one of those actors that can literally do no wrong. He's insanely great in every single role he does. So obviously he's fantastic in it, but it's a great script and it's a great movie. I want to say that's Robert Zemeckis.
I believe you're right.
I could look it up, but fuck it. I'm going to keep my guess and go with it. You know, there's a time back in the day when you couldn't look things up. You just had to be sure of your knowledge or lie.
Exactly. You know, you had to be very confident with your lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of lies, back to social media.
Of course.
So like with Twitter, the issue is that reality is fracturing, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many subjective realities that people will place themselves into depending on what subculture they identify with. Whether that's, you know, political, liberals, conservative, or you're part of film Twitter, and you just enter all these echo chambers on Twitter where your opinion is either, you know, repeated or invalidated depending on who you're talking to, and so that reinforcement and that invalidation in itself is like really mind numbing. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, so you're in all these different realities where everyone perceives information and facts differently. And this is all just in a digital plane, you know what I mean? And I want to make a distinction here because, you know, people say, oh, there's the real world and there's the virtual world, right? I think it's all the real world. I would call it the physical world and the virtual world, but it's all the same thing. And one thing you do in one world is going to make an impact on what happens in the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all reality. The only issue is everyone thinks they're in a different reality. And because of that, there's a lot of strife, a lot of division, and all those negative words, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, for instance, you have we could take, for example...
Can you hold on one second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting some noise here. Sorry, I think My walls are thin. I think maybe it's just a couple walking by or something. I can hear them pretty loudly, and I know my mic's probably picking it up. Obviously, I'll cut this part out. Okay, I think it's over. Go on. Sorry to interrupt you. And
No worries.
action.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you know, those protests, for example, you have one group of people that claims it's a riot, right? But it was not a riot. These were peaceful protests
Correct.
that were, you know, met with intense brutality, right? And then you have the thing that happened at the Capitol, and that's a riot, yet people are saying, no, I'm just expressing my freedom of speech. And it's just like, that level of dissonance is insane to me. And I think it's going to have far-reaching consequences.
Well, I mean, these people existed with or without Twitter. I mean, this thing, if these people were just at home watching this on the news, then they would still have their vastly different opinions and stances on the subject, right? They're just now all kind of being heard and sort of grouping together. Is that what Twitter's allowing to happen?
I think it's allowing them to group together and radicalize more people at a quicker rate.
Definitely at a faster rate. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
question about it. There's no question about it. And I think we had talked about this one time over the phone, but you're behind Twitter scratching out Trump?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a private company. When you incite violence or harm
Yeah.
against other people, it's time to go. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge issue, and like some people would say, oh, it's limiting my freedom of speech, but it's the same thing as you know, there's a private company that's giving you a platform, right? So it's like no shirt, no shoes, no service. Facebook is another one of these echo chambers. It's very similar to Twitter in that regard, whether it's private Facebook
Right.
groups or it's your uncle from Pahrump commenting
Yeah,
on
yeah.
you know, your post. It doesn't matter.
It's crazy because I like, for me, I love I use them all differently. Obviously, Twitter for me is news and then comedians. That's my main two things, news and comedy.
Yeah.
That's what Twitter is to me. After that, you know, and so obviously it's a pop culture thing. Instagram is just to have some fun. Instagram is just a fun thing, you know, who I follow and what my friends are kind of up to. But Facebook is great for me. Just, you know, I have a lot of family that live either in Australia or Brazil or Lebanon. Or, you know, even family that live in the United States, that I now, because I don't speak to them every single day, I can now see kind of what they're up to. Same thing as friends from my high school and college and whatnot. So Facebook for me is great as far as that's concerned. For me personally, anything outside of that, it's not even like, I'm like, what am I even on this fucking platform for right now?
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point. Both Facebook and Twitter are really good at connecting communities together, whether it's family or community organizations. For me, I belong to a group called the Arcturians, which are people who believe in different levels of reality and consciousness, who want to
Is that like
contact.
multiverses?
Like multiverses, but also aliens and that kind of thing, you know?
Really?
I'm a proud Arcturian. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of the stuff is pretty it's pretty insane on that group, but like my friend said,
Yeah.
hey, you got to join this and take a look at this. And it's an interesting subculture. Like these people are totally cool, and
Are these the guys that stormed Area 51?
no, I don't think so.
This
but
isn't the same. I'll be honest, hearing about it, it sounds like the same fucking people.
honestly,
No,
it's
defend
horrible.
yourself, sir, and this whack job group. No, I'm joking, but let me hear about it.
Exactly. No, I mean, it's more so like wellness and just more so connected with astrology and that kind of thing.
Okay,
you know.
and less aliens.
Yeah, with aliens, and hopefully the aliens will bring us to a higher plane of consciousness.
Do you feel confident that aliens exist?
Oh yeah, totally.
100%. You feel like they've.
100%.
You feel. Let me continue. Do you feel like they've already been here?
Yeah,
To Earth. You
definitely.
feel like there's some here right now.
Probably.
You think so? Walking amongst us in human skin, like in fucking V, you know, the lizards underneath, but the humans on the outside.
Definitely, or X-Files, you know,
Or
shape-shifting.
X-Files.
Yeah.
Or they live.
Yeah, or they live.
Yeah,
Jesus, yeah.
They live is amazing. That's an amazing. Wait, they live. That's not John Carpenter, is it?
It is John Carpenter.
That is
yeah.
John Carpenter, right?
Yeah, here to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
Chew some bubble gum.
Yeah.
I'm almost out of bubble gum.
Yeah.
Rowdy Roddy Piper. I'm surprised he never did any film after that. He was fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, Roddy Piper, he walked so The Rock and Dave Bautista could run. Definitely.
So there's an old story. Supposedly, Vince McMahon did not give Roddy Piper his blessing to do that film.
Oh, no?
And him doing that movie caused a major rift between them.
Well, I mean, I like Roddy Piper better than Vince McMahon. So.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm on the Piper side too. No question. No question. You know. All right, go on.
Yeah, but so social media. Social media. Social media.
Social media. That sounds like that's like stoner social media. It would be social media. Social media, man. I'm on social right now, bro. Which one do you personally, outside of your job, which one between, let's go through Facebook, let's go through the big ones, right? Because we have Facebook, YouTube. I'm including YouTube. I feel like you have to include YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? As a social media platform. Although it's kind of a streaming platform now, so now I feel like it's sort of moving in that gray area with YouTube TV, right? But whatever, I'm still going to refer to YouTube as social media because that's how I initially saw it back in the day, right? So I'm going to clump in. So Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Like, let's take those 5. Whatever. I mean, Snapchat, we can, it's kind of, I don't know how important that is to discuss. But between those 5, which ones do you think have the most positive and which ones have the most negative?
Okay.
Or first off, before you go through that, let me ask you, which ones do you fuck with the most personally outside of work?
Twitter and Instagram.
Twitter, Instagram, and then why and why?
Twitter is where I get most of my, let's call it industry information. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm always looking for what projects are happening, who's doing them.
Right.
And I'm talking about specifically film and television.
Of course, yeah. Twitter's great for that. Correct.
Exactly. I mean, and then, I'm a writer, and that's supposedly, you need to have a Twitter to be a writer, which I don't know how true that is. I know plenty of writers that don't have Twitters.
On the other end of the spectrum, I do follow a lot of writers, and I feel like there is a pretty solid writing community on Twitter. So I would say it's important to be on Twitter if you're a writer. But that's just my 2 cents.
Definitely. So it's funny because, like, specifically Twitter, I find it very positive, but also incredibly negative. Like, it's like this
as far as writing is concerned, or as far as in general?
Just the app itself, but like...
Oh, yes.
I mean, like, also, like, I mean, everyone's subjective experience is so different that I think it's hard for anyone to give anyone writing advice. You know what I mean? Like, because, like, this person could be a gatekeeper and they don't realize they're even acting like a gatekeeper. To be in a writer's room, you have to do A, B, and C, and you have to compose yourself this way. It's like the military, and it's like, well, sure, but I can give you...
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, sure, but, like, you can also give, like, so many counter examples to that kind of culture, because I think it's just perpetuating a culture, and sometimes it can be very negative. You know what I mean?
I can see that, but I mean, with anything that, just like, as I'm going to counterpoint that, just as anything, if you're reading a book or whatnot on writing, you're going to take everything you read with a grain of salt and apply what works for you personally, and what you don't necessarily agree with, you're going to toss that aside. So same thing with Twitter. You may read a tweet, you're like, oh, this sounds right, this guy's advice, but then maybe that's not the way. Because nothing, especially in the arts, nothing is absolute as far as an AB plus, equals C, or A plus B equals C, to get into something, right? I mean, nothing is absolute as far as, like, the method how you get into a writer's room might be completely different from how this other person makes their way into a writer's room, right?
Definitely, and how those rooms are composed can be completely different too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, how Sam Esmail composes his writer's room could be completely different than Damon Lindelof, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like, and it's just just to throw a female showrunner in there. I mean, like Misha Green, right? Like, I mean, how she runs a room is probably different from both of them. You know what I mean? Of
course.
So
Absolutely.
It's just like, it's so subjective, and I feel like the advice is valuable, but, like, how valuable? I mean, to an aspiring writer, it could be very aspirational.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Seth Rogen he had this tweet. I don't know if you follow him.
Yeah.
But his was just his, like, writing. He's like, hey guys, I'm just going to go down a thread and ask any questions about writing right now, or something of that nature. And it was a great thread about just his personal process of writing. It wasn't like, hey, you need to do this, or hey, do this and you'll succeed, or hey, you shouldn't do this or should do. But it was his personal thing. It was interesting because he's obviously written some successful screenplays. You know what I mean? He's obviously a highly successful actor and whatnot. And so it was interesting seeing his process. I was like, oh, that was, and I retweeted it. And I was like, oh, that's great. Something like that I'm super into. Maybe there's another writer that tweets something that, I'm like, I don't know if I'm super into that. I don't know. I mean, are you not able to just turn it off?
For me, no. I mean, it's just a constant filter. I mean, maybe that's like my own personal thing that I need to resolve. But like just the amount of framing that someone can do, they can definitely like curate their experience to a certain degree because yeah, they could have been a successful, they're a successful writer, but they forgot to mention that their dad is like Mr. Warner or Mr. Paramount. You know what I mean? And that's where it's like where I take the mindset like fuck you, your advice does not apply to me kind of deal. And it could be because I'm salty or whatever, but like at the same time, like I mean, it's all just as you said, you need to sift through the bullshit, but the problem I face with Twitter is there's way too much bullshit. Like there's an enormous amount of bullshit.
Do you feel the negative outweighs the positive?
Yes. But I can't stop because I'm addicted.
It's the addict in you, sir. That I can relate to that. Yeah, I get it.
But I mean, not to say I don't want to take pot shots at writing Twitter because like there's so much valuable information there. Yeah. But more so, it's like the masses and everyone having an opinion and going in the threads and like I can't stop myself because it's literally endless and you can have an endless discourse about writing, which makes me hate it. You know what I mean? Right. But because then you're just talking about writing instead of writing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, one thing we didn't get into real quick was Reddit. Reddit is obviously highly influential. Obviously, we don't need to mention Wall Street Bets.
Yeah, of course.
To prove that point of just how big of a monster Reddit is and can be and how much it can literally create, societal change. That's such an insane story, but we'll leave that for another day. But how I consume, obviously how each person consumes social media is completely different, and it's absolutely interesting to hear your view of how you consume it. For me, when I'm on Twitter, I feel like I go in thinking most of it is bullshit, similar to you, and so I toss half of it away, and I go through it. I consume it for news, and then once again to be entertained. And for me, it's I can either spend X amount of time watching a quick show on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, or I can, spend some time on social and kind of fuck around right there. So to me, I like to go in taking everything with a grain of salt. That's how I deal with it. Because otherwise, if I took this as any sort of oh, this is it, I feel like my brain would just sort of melt from all the fucking bullshit.
Definitely, man. And, that may stem itself from you have much more life experience than I do. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to say
trying to say I'm old.
No,
is that an
no,
old
of course
call?
not.
It sounded like you. Hey, man, you're fucking old.
No, you're seasoned.
That's me, sensitive. That's a sensitivity in the gray in my beard. Like, yeah.
Nah, you're a silver fox, man. I love the salt and pepper
seasoned, baby. I like that. I'm going to start saying, hey, how old are you? I'm seasoned.
Exactly.
I'm seasoned. I'm seasoned like the salt and pepper in my beard.
Yeah, I feel you. And I mean, the point is that it's a different experience for everybody. Some people just may not be able to stop themselves. And maybe this my viewpoint stems from being a digital native for the most part.
Yeah.
Being in social media.
You grew up with it almost. I mean, how old were you when social first started becoming a thing? How old were you back in what, 06, 07?
Yeah. So I don't know. I was 13 or 14.
Yeah. So right into high school. So you experienced high school and college, and now you're early 20s with social media. For me, once again, I'm going to age myself because I'm so seasoned. I didn't start experiencing social media until I was late 20s.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that that I was I was a child of both. I was an early young child of the 80s, and then high school and college were both in the 90s, and I'll forever be grateful for that. I'm not standing on a high horse, but I'll always be glad that I grew up and was developed through a non-social media world. But it's interesting, and maybe I wonder if that is part of the reason as to why I don't take social as seriously or let it affect me as much. Once again, it does sometimes. Sometimes I'll get on it and I'll just feel like shit after being on it for a moment. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned with YouTube, I'll be like, but I think that's because I'm spending mindless energy on something and not accomplishing anything. Like I'll feel like I've literally just lost time. Sometimes I'll tap in to either TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and I'll get off it and I'll be like, I didn't accomplish anything for the last 30 minutes. You know what I mean? I mean, I was slightly entertained, but you know, then again, it's the same thing as if you watch too much TV. You know, when you watch TV, you know, have you ever spent just too much time watching fucking TV? That's why I don't have cable, because I'll just fucking channel surf all day. I refuse to have cable ever. You know?
Definitely.
I'll only let myself binge so many shows at once. And I'll be like, nope, TV off, because otherwise I'll just my brain will just go to a very dark place and I'll feel like I'm just wasting my life. And I always feel like I'm wasting my life, but that's another conversation too, so.
Totally, yeah. I mean, a lot of it has to do with just interfacing with screens. You know, it's not just limited to social. Before social media was rotting our brains, TV was rotting our brains. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think the crux of it is the screen, you know, the literal black mirror staring in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's interesting because, you know, let's switch gears out of Twitter for a second. I wanted to just kind of go through the other social networks.
Yeah. I was actually about to ask you that. Let's move into Instagram.
Yeah, so Instagram is great because, like we've mentioned before, it gives a platform to artists, small business owners, and all sorts of different creative people a chance for people to see them and to build an audience, build a customer base. However, when again, this is, I mean, take everything with a grain of salt that I say, because, you know, it's all subjective, but like I personally start feeling like shit if I see that, like, you know, one of my colleagues from school got like this really cool thing, like a cool opportunity, or someone is really hot and I aspire to be that hot, or someone has like you know, a great head of hair and it makes me self-conscious about my hair. You know, the list goes on and on and on and on for like the negative aspects of that.
And it's all just you know, exemplified or made. It's all made worse because you're comparing yourself now. Now it's all about comparison.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of a stronger sense of self than I do, but like, you know, sometimes, and I think there's just human nature to a certain degree, you know, you can't help but compare your experience to others, and that's, I mean, how you connect with people as well, and you relate, you know, for better or worse, you know.
Which one do you think has a more which social media app has more of a negative impact on you, do you think? Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter, 100%.
100%? Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're more concerned with the bullshit. What affects you, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like what affects you more in a negative way is the influx of bullshit, the influx of the nonstop, you know, news cycle in a way that's on Twitter versus comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah, I think going on Twitter, it's like the world's going to end in a different way every single day.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing if you turn on the news. You know, that's why I hate when the news is running 24/7 in the background. People that do that, I was like, what are you doing? Like, it's not good out there. They want ratings. They're going to put out the shit because that's what people are attracted to.
Exactly.
They want the horror. You know, the horror is the blood on the streets. That's what's going to gain viewers. So the news cycle is just endless. And therefore, Twitter is if it's a news cycle, it's a similar thing to having the news on TV 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and it's not about ratings anymore. It's about engagement and likes and sharing and all of this kind of stuff. Reach, impressions, whatever analytic what you want to use. It's all tracked because people want more of it. And that's the thing that I think is the crux of social that I hate. It's more is more. And more is going to come out, more content than you could possibly want. And it's just like a never-ending black hole of information and content.
How much of that makes you feel you need to be creating content? Because as an artist, I'm like, oh my God, you know, I should be doing more TikToks. I should be doing more IG lives. I should be tweeting more. I should be creating more content. Create, do. I don't know if that's just, you know, because I'm an artist and I feel the need that because I feel like everyone else is doing that. And it's like, now's the time to do it. But, you know, sometimes I just want to like hold up my fucking notebook and just close the door and shut everything off and just write for fucking 2 hours straight and get it out that way. I mean, I don't know if that's too old school, but, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's absolutely paralyzing. Like, you know, I'm supposed to be a writer, yet I can barely tweet. Like, maybe I'll tweet like once a week, once a month sometimes. It's just like it's the pressure to create. I mean, you could argue that it comes from our capitalist society and produce so other people can consume. You know, it's as simple as that. It's ingrained into our DNA to do that. And I don't think I buy it anymore. I think there's this lie of productivity and creation that just comes with our society, man. And that goes for all the social networks, which encourage you to do that so you can get that dopamine hit of a like. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't buy it anymore, man. Yeah. You know?
I'd like to... My brother, one of my brothers... I won't mention which one. He has he likes it, what does he call it? He says a minimal digital footprint. He's not on any social. Obviously, he's on LinkedIn and all that jazz, you know, because he has to work. But other than that, he's got a very minimal. He doesn't go on Twitter, doesn't go on fucking Instagram, doesn't go on Facebook, doesn't do any of that shit. His wife does, but he doesn't. And he just, honestly, seems happy. He's always focusing on going out and doing physical activities and going out and doing having the next experience. And obviously he sends photos and whatnot within our, we have a WhatsApp channel with our family, and we all share photos and what we're doing and all that jazz through that. And it's very personal, and I love it for that. But he's not sharing it with the world all the time. He's not consuming all the time. And I don't know. I feel like I'm not an artist, and were I not an actor and director and wanting to build my brand, which is necessary right now, we can get to that in a moment, would I be on social as much or at all right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid question to ask. I mean, like, you know, I'm on there for the same reason. I have to build my brand. But, like, I'm wondering if that's completely necessary or if that's just one route, you know?
That's an interesting question right there. Is it necessary to be on social if you're an artist today? I would say yes, but what's the argument to that?
It depends on geographic location. If you are in LA running around with Johnny Paramount and Rebecca Warner, you may not need to do that.
Right. Rebecca Warner.
You know, those are just, you know, they're placeholder names, but like, you know, what we want to, what we're doing, I mean, it's you know, it's like, you know, people hanging out with Andy Warhol, you know what I mean? It's social helps to have wide reach, but like going back to the gatekeeping conversation, really to get that quote unquote break, you just need the right person to read your material. And so you could do that. Yeah, you could do that through going viral on social media, or you could put your head down, write, and then submit to all these different contests and project markets and learn how to market yourself that way through building pitch decks and all this kind of stuff, which is a completely different skill from social media. Like, because you could spend time building that and have no social media acumen, but at the same time, oh, you're actually a great storyteller who knows how to market your material and knows what distribution, marketing, and all of that means. You know what I mean? So, but what you sacrifice is if you spend most of the time creating on social media, you're just creating and you have a viral moment, but like you will be at a disadvantage because you will be less seasoned in whatever chosen business. And don't get it fucking twisted. You need to know the business for whatever art you're chasing.
Of course, absolutely. If you're a brand out there today, though, I think because we're in the digital media age, I think it absolutely behooves you to be on social in some way, shape, or form. But once again, I think you can. I still think you can grow significantly as an artist without being highly dependent on social.
Well, I mean, Bottega, you know, the House of Bottega, the luxury fashion brand, got rid of all their social, and I think there's a really cool idea.
Really? I wasn't aware of that. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I don't know much other than that. I just know...
Sorry, listeners at home, that's all you get. Fucking Google it.
Google it, exactly. I mean, but I just know they're not on social, and I mean, I think that creates a sense of something special and exclusive that you can only get in the physical world, you know, which is these high-end clothes and fashion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there are other examples of that, but I am of the mind that it's not completely necessary. Another example is this author. I don't want to butcher her name, so I'm not going to. No? Okay. Her first name is Otessa, and she wrote a story collection called Homesick for Another World, and then a book called My Year of Rest and Relaxation.
Okay.
And she has no social presence either, and yet she is like very hot in the literary community right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So honestly, at this point in time, I think it's different strokes for different folks, right? You can go the social media route, you can go the networking route. I don't think it matters. You have to do one. You're either social networking online or you're networking in real life.
Yeah.
To reach a wider audience, yeah, of course, like, you know, depending on if the people you're networking in real life, they add you as a friend on Instagram and they have 100,000 followers and they tag you hanging out with them.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, it just feels just so disingenuous to me. I don't care about social climbing like that. If I'm in it to make friends and, you know, work with people that I love, like you. I didn't come to work for Slap TV because it's like some cool brand. Like, I fucked with you because, like, the first time we talked, we were super drunk at Atomic Liquors talking about David Lynch, man. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, dude. Feelings mutual, buddy. All love, dude. All love.
So it's just like, some people argue, yes, you need to have a brand, but like, I think branding yourself and having a brand also dehumanizes you. You know what I mean? Because you're no longer a person, you're an object that people can consume. And I don't know if I'm into that.
Yeah. Interesting.
You know?
It's tough because, I mean, me being an actor, I was like, I am sometimes literally the object of the art.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for an actor for sure. And it goes back to this subjective realities, man. We're all walking in our own reality.
Yeah. Correct.
But like, just to like kind of, now that we're kind of having this discussion about getting out of social and like wanting to get away from that, I read this interesting thing called attention restoration theory.
Yes,
I think this could be beneficial for both of us, but basically it's encapsulated in the more time you spend in nature, the more you'll restore your mental resources. And like, honestly, dude, I want to be so close to nature. I started hiking, and I know you're an avid hiker.
I love hiking.
Yeah.
Hiking is my thing. There's some days where I was like, I don't want to hike. I need to hike. Like, I literally need to get out to nature. My mom calls it bathing in the trees. And when I do, I feel so much better. It's almost like hitting the reset button on me, you know, or getting a full recharge of my batteries. And it just feels just so good. I always feel, whenever I'm outside doing an activity, I always feel great. And the times that I get away from that are the times that I feel worse and worse about myself. And I'm already going, I wake up in darkness. So I have to really force myself into light each day. You know, some days are better than others, of course, but, you know, and we'll save that for another, I feel like I say that every moment. It's like, we'll save that for another time. But nature is absolutely healing. And for me personally, absolutely necessary tool. And I shut off my fucking phone. I put my shit on airplane mode. When I'm out there, I'm out there. I'll take photos, of course. And a lot of times post them on social later. But I'm at the moment, I'm just taking photos of what I think is cool. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm just out there. But
yeah, man. I mean, look, I want to go out into nature more. I want to interface in the world more. And I think, you know, a lot of this could be brought on from pandemic depression, anxiety, whatever. But like, it's something that I yearn right now, man. And maybe it's because I am a social media professional. I'm so sick of being online all the time.
Do you feel like it's gotten worse, that feeling, since the pandemic in the last year, almost the anniversary? I
mean, I would say yes, in terms of my opinion of social media, but like me as a person, I've really strived to make better choices in terms of wellness, right? So like, you know, you got the hiking. I also do mindfulness meditation every single day.
How long do you do it? How long do you do it for?
About 10 to 15 minutes.
That's
amazing.
I
got oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's really helped me a lot.
You have the Calm app?
Yeah, I have the Calm app. I love shout out my girl, Tamara Levitt.
Yeah?
Shout out Tamara.
Who's that? Is she your meditation guide?
Yeah, she's my meditation guide. I don't know her, but she has so many pre-recorded guided meditations. Oh, man.
Oh, so you're not just silent. You're using an app, and she's speaking as you're getting into your Zen. She's
guiding me through my entire perception and awareness.
Wow.
I'm sure oh, go for it.
Do you feel like that's more beneficial? Is that an easier way to get into it rather than just being completely silent? Do you feel like that works for you better? Have you tried both?
I've tried both, and I consider myself a beginner, and so like, you know, I need school. you know, and so she's my spiritual teacher right now until I
that's
can
great.
go ahead and practice myself, you know.
And how do you feel now that you've been doing that? How long have you been doing that for?
I'm approaching 4 weeks now. Not quite there, but like 3 solid weeks. And like, you know, supposedly you need to work on something 3 weeks to develop a habit. And I really hope it's a lifelong habit, because it really helps to have that calm and reset and to restore my focus, you know. You know, that helps. I also practice Muay Thai.
Oh, that's great. That's the, you know, that was one of the fighters in Jean-Claude Van Damme's Kickboxer.
Yeah.
And fought Muay Thai, right? That's
Yeah.
a lot of, that's like blocking like this and then like the kicking.
Yeah. You block like that, and then you
Yeah.
block with your knees and stuff. You got to have strong shins, you know.
Which fighter from Street Fighter did Muay Thai?
Sagat. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, that's right. Yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's based on a real dude, actually, and that dude's awesome.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Sagat's based on a real dude from Street Fighter?
Yeah, if you go on YouTube and search real life Sagat, you'll find the guy, and he's awesome.
You just blew my mind. I didn't know any of those characters are any other characters based off of real people?
His name is Balrog in the English version. Balrog's the boxer, right?
Yes, of course.
But his real name was M. Bison. Mike Tyson, get it?
What?
Yeah.
So he's supposed to be Tyson.
Yeah, and M. Bison in the American, his real name is Balrog. You know what I mean? They switched their names.
What? Okay, because Bison's the main guy, right? He's the guy with the red cape.
Yes.
Yeah, played by you know what's crazy? That was I believe Raul Julia's last film.
Rest in peace, Raul. Gomez Adams, man. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. He's also Kiss of the Spider Woman, right? With William Hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking amazing film. I want to say Academy Award winning film, but once again, we're not Oscar historians. But that's crazy. Yeah, I do know that who is it? Who's the Hollywood guy? Not Luke Cage. What? No, that's it.
You're talking about Mortal Kombat, Johnny Cage?
Johnny Cage. Okay, that's Mortal Kombat. He's supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. I've switched video games real quick.
Oh yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was
Marvel, not him.
He was what's his name?
Johnny Cage. He was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think they wanted to get him.
Yeah.
Because he does the thing where he spreads his legs. He does the split and punches up at the dude's nuts.
Yeah.
That's the Van Damme move.
That's incredible.
I didn't know that. I knew that he was based off of Johnny Cage was based off of Jean-Claude Van Damme in Mortal Kombat, but I didn't know. I had just assumed, maybe because it was just so cartoonish, that all of the Street Fighter characters were made up. But I love that they were based off of real life people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they all are, but
right, some of them, yeah,
definitely,
which I guess makes sense.
Totally. I mean, when you have the world's greatest fighters, of course you want to have like a version of that in a fighting game, you know, so people can live their best lives as. I
wonder who Blanca is based off of.
Oh my God!
I don't even know who would that be.
Oh my God! I have no idea. Like, you know, a green monster with red hair. Blanca was always my favorite growing up, though, with the electrical moves.
I mean, how do you not love
Yeah.
Blanca? Yeah, and he jumps on you and bites your face. Yeah, Blanca was one of my faves. I love Blanca. Man, that was a very simple time when it was just Street Fighter 1. Oh, yeah. Street Fighter 2 is when it really got into it.
Yeah, and then they have all the different like permutations of it. Street Fighter 2 Omega Alpha 2, and it's so confusing. But like Street Fighter is a great franchise. But Muay Thai has been great. I mean, both with meditation, Muay Thai, and even hiking, which I'm just getting into. It's like this idea of practice and getting in this thing you need, right? For a better sense of wellness. Same with therapy. You know what I mean? Like I go to therapy. Not religiously. Well, it is technically religiously. It's on Sunday. Get it? But
there you go. Hey.
But it's a really great way to get to know yourself, and it's really helped me. I believe become a better person. Yeah. It's something I had to start back when I was in LA because I was just getting so burned out, and I was personalizing a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so between like these practices and this time, it's really helped me reach a better sense of self. Because I mean, just getting away from. I guess it goes along with social media too. I am not my work or my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing, you know, back in undergrad and all of that, like I wanted so desperately to be this writer, right? And I would sacrifice personal relationships. I would be very selfish in my time, you know, ghost people, just do all sorts of shit like that. And like, just to accomplish this thing, you know, making movies. But like, I don't think that's a very healthy way to view it. And I mean, that goes with social media as well. Like, you know, it was all, you know, putting all your sense of self into this identity as a brand to be consumed is just something I'm not into anymore.
Yeah. It sounds like you want separation, and what's even more necessary is a sense of balance.
Definitely. I think a sense of balance, and like one thing that's imbalanced, again, probably because I'm addicted to it, is like, you know, I don't know if I can have a healthy relationship with social media because like, I mean, you know, I just want more and more and more and more. But I mean, I guess I'd love to tell you this quote from Christopher Doyle.
Please.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. But
grab it for me.
Just a side note, we had recorded this podcast before, and I mean, we basically spoke to God, so it's unfortunate that you won't hear that, but it's okay. But I'm sharing the same quote that Roberto has heard, but for the sake of the listeners out there, I think it could help a lot of people. Yeah, so Christopher Doyle, he is Wong Kar-wai's cinematographer, famous for shooting such films as like In the Mood for Love, among others. But this is what he has to say. Art is what artists make. So the process is to become an artist. It's not to make art. And that's the journey as a person. To get to a point where you are at ease with yourself, where you are open to all possibilities, and then it will be rechanneled through you as an artist. So the process is actually the process of you. The process is working on yourself. And to be honest, man, I just want to live in the process. You know what I mean? And I think social media is about the product. You know what I mean?
It's kind of a similar thing. I think from what I'm gathering, it's the journey, not the destination.
100,000%, man. And like, you know, I don't want to get too new agey or anything, man.
No,
but like, I mean, I'm sure like, you know,
but I'm with you on that. And yeah, you're right. Social media is about product and not about process. And art is very, very much about process. And we as humans are a constant process. We're a constant work in progress. We're constantly evolving. Hopefully people evolve. Hopefully people learn. Hopefully people are constantly creating themselves and trying to be better people and trying to, you know, not make the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's okay to make mistakes because that's how you learn, but hopefully you're not repeating them too much, and hopefully you're growing and finding. It's all about at the end of the day, it's all about happiness. And at the end of the day, if it's working for you and making you happy, then that's great. Do it. Like if going on social all the time, this was like, oh my God, this makes me so happy all the time, 100%. That'd be great. Say go do that if that's what you need, you know. But if it's not making most people happy. There's no way, you know. So you got it. But you can't all at the same time. You can't just fucking completely throw it away, you know. So you have to. To me, you have to find that balance, and that's great, man. That you're doing the hiking, you're doing therapy, you're doing the Muay Thai, and that's great. That's so great that you're it looks like you're already on your way to finding that balance and finding what works for you, so that you're able to, when you have to go into your phone because it's your job, you're able to go with it with almost like your shield's up, like you're stronger, like you have a stronger sense of self.
Exactly. Right? You got strong mental shins. Yeah,
you have to, because if you go in and you know, go in with sort of a weak mind, you're going to consume and get involved, and it's like, what's the point? It's kind of like people that go in like these, that get into like the Facebook thread arguments. It's like, what the fuck are you arguing for? You don't even know this person. I've never in my life understood it. I've never understood arguing with somebody on social. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's this phenomenon that like so many people participate in, and that's like where a lot of the exhaustion for me stems from. It's just a constant argument, and like, you know, I know that we can't all just get along. It's human nature to have opinions, and it just, you know, makes people individuals, which is important. But like the vitriol and the nastiness that I see on social media is just has burned me out. But hopefully, I mean, you know, I guess just to wrap it up here, I think there's much more to life than social, but you're right. I think it really is about striking a balance here.
Yeah, you have to find the balance. I think you hit the nail in the head earlier, where it's building up your sense of self and building up your personal strength and your own personal happiness and finding what really makes you happy. And that's great that you've discovered that with hiking and with the Muay Thai. I mean, that's awesome. You know, for me, hiking is a huge thing. I love hiking. Sadly, one of the things that I loved is going to the movies, not just watching a movie on my television, but going to an actual movie theater. That's an experience that I probably miss the most from this pandemic. And that was one, if not my favorite pastime. I know that's not really as, as great as going on a hike or doing a physical activity, but, I don't live near the ocean right now. So, we're when I'm down in Florida visiting my family and whatnot, I'm out every day. I'm going to the beach. I'm either kayaking, I'm biking, I'm doing something, I'm walking, I'm running. I've been running every day. I'm up to 3 miles now. So that's like a big part of it. I know the days that I run, I feel great. And days that I don't run, I have a few more mind obstacles of darkness to go through. You know what I mean? So I know that that's what helps me. And that's just is common sense. Physical activity is going to obviously make you feel better throughout the day. But there are days when, even when I do that and still when darkness was kind of creeping in and I'm just like, okay, well, I got to really take care of myself in that respect. But definitely increasing the amount of physical activity, increasing the amount of time outside and the amount of time that's going to genuinely make you happy and decreasing some of those tendencies to just like go on your screen and just dive through social and lose time. You're going to lose time. There's this movie, I think it's called, maybe it's not Fearless, but it's with Edward Norton. And he's like, Allah. It's what he was nominated for an Academy Award. I think it's one of his first movies. Like, I lost time. And that's what I feel like sometimes when I'm just on social. I was like, where did the last half hour just go?
Exactly, man. And I want to take that half hour back. Just like full stop.
Take it back. G. I love it. Dude, it has been so good seeing you, man. I can't wait to see you in real life.
Dude, let's go on a hike.
Let's do it. Let's shut our phones off, go on the hike and have a swell old time. But dude, once again, I can't wait to go hiking with you. I can't wait to see you in real life. And we'll have to wear masks for the time being, but someday hopefully that shit's over.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
But hope to see you sooner than later, man.
Yeah, dude, it's been great. I feel like, we went through a lot of fun topics here. This is probably one of my more serious conversations and less jokey topics that I've had, and I love that. I've been kind of wanting to move in this direction, kind of delve into some topics. I'm trying to get the show to be a little bit more, wellness driven, a little bit more about self-improvement and striking that balance in life that's going to keep you striving for happiness. So I'm kind of trying to go in that direction.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, the happier you are, the better artist you are, the funnier you are. I don't want to say the funny you are because there's a lot of comedians that, like, suffered quite a bit and were hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But regardless, I think it's easier to create when you're in a good mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So let me, all right, guys, let's see, where are we getting, where's my fucking outro here? Guys, just to remind you, we are available on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Buzzsprout, YouTube, and all standard podcast platforms. Follow us on IG at Let's Hug It Out Podcast and Let's Hug It Out Podcast.buzzsprout.com. G, do you want to shout out your Instagram handle or you don't give a fuck? What's your thing?
Oh, fuck it. No, don't follow me anywhere. I'm dead to the world.
Don't follow him. He's dead to the world. Dude, thank you so much, man. Guys, keep hugging. Always wear a mask. And maybe just hug yourself right now with virtual hugs. We're gonna do our hug real quick, G. So let's come in for the real thing.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
There we go. Ooh, yes.
Our beards are.
Oh yeah.
Our beards are connecting. Yeah, there we go. I like a good beard rub. Beard on beard action.
Ooh.
That's what I'm talking about. You go on Pornhub, type on beard, see what you find there.
Oh, I'm sure you find some great content.
That's the one app we didn't talk about. That's not really an app. That's a whole nother level. Dude, so great seeing you, my brother. Take care, be cool, and I can't wait to finish your screenplay, my man.
Oh, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to hear what you think.
All right, dude. Take care. Peace out.
Later.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Let's do that again. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening and watching Let's Hug It Out. And I'll see you next time. Bye.